Hello and welcome to Extreme Tech. It's hard to believe that McLaren has been in the road car business for over 10 years. Indeed, almost 30 years ago McLaren's F1 entered the mainstream with aficionados, but McLaren didn't build a single tram of his for years after that. Since 2011, the legendary Formula One brand has released several route models, completely changing the supercar hierarchy long dominated by a few Italian companies. These models, including the MP4-12C, 570S, Senna and 720S all have their own character but share a very similar set of components. Artura is new and doesn't look like the latest reboot of your favorite streaming service. New as never before. Think Severance, not Bel Air. For all intents and purposes, this is his second production car for McLaren. And it's a plug-in hybrid. The 181-pound Artura carbon tub is very similar to the old one from his Carbotech in Austria, but it's stronger, lighter and has a cavity to house the audio system's subwoofer. It is now also produced at McLaren's carbon fiber plant in Sheffield, England. A 3.0-liter V6 twin-turbo engine that produces 577 horsepower. All previous McLarens, except F1 with BMW V12, used 3.8 or 4.0-liter V8s. Compared to the V8, the new V6 is about 110 pounds lighter and surprisingly smaller. For example, I didn't know the original Mini was this small. The 8-speed dual-clutch transmission is roughly the same size as his old 7-speed, partly because it has no reverse, but it includes McLaren's first use of an electronically controlled slip differential. All reverse gears are fully electric and driven by a 94-horsepower axial flux motor for reverse. The engine is directly in front of the transmission inlet. This is a powerful ring that a drunk ultimate frisbee player will try to drop and argue if left alone at closing time. The front suspension still uses control arms, but the rear suspension now has a multi-link design, which is said to increase stiffness and reduce sag. No hydropneumatic suspension. These are coil springs and anti-roll bars, just like the GT that sits below the Artura in the lineup. Recall that Lamborghini and Porsche have the Volkswagen Group's deep pockets, and Ferrari, which has been building his street cars for over 70 years, was until recently backed by Fiat. Despite the obvious technical and financial issues, this product is worth the wait. Its silhouette is pure speed, like a falcon diving at 200 miles per hour. There were concerns that the bulk of the engine and 7.4 kilowatt-hours lithium-ion battery would spoil the McLaren feel we're used to. But at 3,443 pounds, it's lighter than a Corvette Z06 and probably lighter than a Ferrari 296 GTB. Test it and you'll find out. The extra weight of the car is so light and the engine fits perfectly under the wheels that the Artura feels tethered to the road. Pirelli P0 Corsa PZC4 tires hold 1.08 G on flat ground, but 1.07 is road legal. Cornering is snappy and the electro-hydraulic power steering feels the best in the industry. Drag naturally increases and decreases just before understeer occurs. Chassis balance is much softer than the tailed 570S, but not lackluster. This will firmly connect the load fan meter to the red mark. This is good because the car can develop unacceptable speeds in a very short time. A 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 2.6 seconds may be in Z06 territory, but the McLaren succumbs to the American at speed, reaching 60 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds and covering the quarter mile in 10.3 seconds at 140 miles per hour. Even the similarly priced Porsche 911 Turbo S lightweight beats out the McLaren with his 60 and E-quarter, Danke, all-wheel drive, but at 180 miles per hour he's a second slower. The 720S is much faster, but the soon-to-be replaced 720S is about $73,000 more than the $237,500 Artura. This is an example of the $284,925 Volcano Blue decal, and most of the options are cosmetic rather than functional.